What's up, Best Hour Fit Fam? TJ Hollywood here, joined by
Devin the Destroyer.
And we're here to give you that Technique Tuesday tutorial. A quick breakdown on the uppercut, how we do it in our classes, and some mild modifications and variations to keep yourself safe and to keep that workout going. So first off, that uppercut's always, really fun punch people see in movies and stuff.
All the time.
Where, they do that big uppercut and the guy goes flying and it's a KO, knockout, right? Uppercut is definitely a good punch that can cause a KO, but you need to have good technique, and you need to be aware that a lot of times that uppercut's not going to land, so you want to make sure your entire form is solid and not just that uppercut form.
Yeah.
So the basic uppercut is from a fighter stance. When you're punching someone, or let's say cardio kickboxing, which we're doing right now, that glove or hand will drop down a little bit, but then it's going to shoot up from that position right to that under the chin height. So we're not going to shoot way up to fully extend that arm. We're going to keep that elbow bent as you do that uppercut, going right to your chin height. So when you're punching a person in a sparring match and you're going for the uppercut to the chin, that knockout punch, or if you're practicing your cardio kickboxing, not a whole lot of glove movement. The glove drops down a little bit, and as you pivot in, you thrust that punch upwards to the chin. So that's how you do a proper uppercut to the chin. As always, you're hitting with the front two knuckles on your hand, or if you're wearing a glove of the glove, you're keeping that wrist straight and elbow bent. That's going to keep your whole arm safe. Wrist straight, of course, because anytime you throw a punch, that impact will travel along your arm, assuming your arm is straight.
Yeah.
If your wrist is bent, the impact will stop on the wrist. You have a wrist injury.
And that hurts.
Tight hand, hitting with the front two knuckles is to keep that hand safe. Loose hand or hitting anywhere besides those front two knuckles, most likely a sore hand, or if you're actually making contact without gloves, most likely a broken hand. So make sure you keep it safe there. But assuming you got all that good, that uppercut should be a nice solid hit. Of course, you're pivoting on whatever leg you're punching from, because the power is not just coming from that arm. When people do that uppercut, usually, they're showing off a nice big biceps.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, cool. So uppercuts are all about biceps.
They are.
Yeah, the bicep plays a part in that punch, but it's by far the most important muscle group being used to generate power and an efficient punch. So yeah, your bicep in the front of that arm is working. That's that big mound right there that you show off on Flex Fridays. But you're also using the deltoids, your shoulder, especially that front deltoid, but also relying on the back and middle deltoids. It's a three-group muscle there. So you're generating power and stability from those muscles there. But the majority of your power in that uppercut actually don't even come from the arm. They come from your lower body. Starting with that pivot, your calf muscle is generating power into the quad, into the hip, into the core, especially those obliques as you crunch them in. And all that power translates into your shoulder and bicep and through the arm into a big, powerful uppercut. So like we've talked about in our punching tutorial, punching power is not purely upper body. It's not purely arm. You're actually generating most of your power from that lower body movement, which again is why that pivot, besides just safety, is so important for a perfect punch.
5 P's of awesome.
Now, a big difference with our uppercuts when we're actually sparring, going to the chin, or cardio kickboxing is when we're hitting a bag. So whenever we're doing classes and we're working on the bag, we're doing something, and we say this a lot, something closer to a shovel hook.
Yes.
As we know, hooks are rotating punches that come around with the elbow out, thumb up, again, hitting with the front two knuckles. Very similar to the uppercut, though, because your elbow is bent and you're not straightening that arm. So when we go on an uppercut on the bag, we can't do that quick drop and thrust up. You can, but you don't really want to hit the bag at that angle, because as we know, when we hit the bag, whether it's a jab cross or a hook, we want to keep that forearm at bare minimum straight into that bag, keeping the wrist straight and the knuckles in. So when you throw an uppercut and you're going to that upwards angle, hitting that upper chin, you are now putting your arm at risk. You're making your body unstable. It's going to be very hard if you're throwing a lot of power in that punch to keep that wrist straight. More than likely, you're going to bend that wrist and hurt that wrist, elbow. So Devin's going to show us now how we do an uppercut on a bag that's more like a shovel hook. Boom. He's punching straight in to the belly of the bag, which is still a totally decent punch. When you throw a shovel hook, you're coming more to a 45-degree angle, and you're punching more inwards to that gut region. So an uppercut on a bag, we're going more to that liver height, the lower rib region. His glove, or his hand in this case, is going to be directly in line with his elbow. He still has his elbow bent, and he's getting his glove to that position by pivoting that front foot. Again, it's going to generate more power through his lower body and translates to a stronger, safer punch in that uppercut. So very important there, wouldn't you say, Devin, that when you throw uppercuts on a bag, you're punching that lower belly.
Always that belly button area right there.
Very
Boom.
important. So it's a good solid hit even if you were fighting someone, but on a bag, it's going to keep you safe and give you a great workout. Now, if you really want to do that more upward cut motion to the chin on a bag, I would recommend just not hit the bag for that. So let's say you're doing a combo where you're going jab, right uppercut, left hook. If he's hitting the bag, he's going to go into the belly, right? So he'll go jab, right uppercut to the belly, a left hook. Now, if he wants to do a more upward motion to the chin, he'll go jab. He'll do that upward uppercut swing without actually making contact with the bag and then go into the left hook. Sure, he's going to lose the resistance of hitting the bag, but he's going to still get the motion going, a great workout. So it's almost a slight mix of the cardio shadow boxing or cardio kickboxing and the bag work. So it's a great way to get that practice in without having to sacrifice form or technique or risk injury. So again, uppercutting, if you want to hit the bag and you want to put a lot of power into it, right to the belly. Never at an upward angle, especially not at a lower angle. That's how we risk our wrists and our elbows. We don't want to risk that. So we're going to the belly of the bag. But again, if you want to do cardio kickboxing, you want to mix it in here, then you can go more with that upward motion. Pivoting either way, of course, right?
Every time.
Now, here's something I see a lot from people do this in both ways, whether they're cardio kickboxing or if they're hitting the bag. And let me see if you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. So I'm getting my fire stance, about ready to throw a right uppercut, right?
Right uppercut. Ooh, you're pulling it all the way back here.
It's kind of cartoony, right?
It is.
It's, you know, when they go like, why, yada, and then they throw a big uppercut. That doesn't do anything for you.
No.
Despite what the cartoons show you, you gain nothing from that. In fact, it's a big disadvantage. One is it's extra movement.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
Yeah, you can see it happening. And especially if you can see it happening, if I start giving signs, if every time I throw an uppercut, my elbow swings behind me, my opponent is going to know it's coming. And he's going to either plan for it, dodge out of the way, block it easily, or rebuttal an attack because he knows exactly what I'm doing. So you never want that elbow to come behind your body. Now, that should definitely not be a problem if we're sparring or I'm cardio kickboxing because I'm not dropping my glove very far. I just drop it a little bit and shoot it up. He's less likely to see that happening because it's such little movement. I'm just getting enough movement to get some power in there, which again is generated from the lower body. Now, the other problem, of course, with that extra movement, do you know what it is?
Besides telegraphing?
Besides telegraphing, yeah.
What is it?
Wasted energy.
True.
Right? So in fighting, it's all a game of whose stamina is going to outlast the other, who's going to be able to take more punches and kicks, who's going to be able to land more punches and kicks. So stamina is a big part. You know, you can have amazing power in your punches, amazing speed in your kicks, but if you can't last the amount of rounds needed, they're gonna beat you.
Yeah.
Fair and square. So you got to find ways to save your power. And one of those ways is by not doing extra movement that's not required. So in any punch, if you're bringing your elbows back behind you, not only are you telegraphing your movement, but you're wasting energy doing so. So we don't want to do that.
At all.
So when we're hitting a bag, the elbow's not going to come behind you. It's going to stop right at your body. Actually, I like to have it stop pretty much almost at the hip. Because if I have it come to the hip, I know I'm definitely not going behind my body. And as soon as I make that slight bounce, I shoot it into that bag. Now, I definitely love doing uppercuts in the bag, and I'll make contact, but I will do that more shovel hook-like punch. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do.
I love the resistance. Now, one thing people do mention a lot is they feel like their uppercuts aren't as strong as other punches. So, do you know why that is?
Because I would say upward motion. I mean, it's still a knockout.
So close enough. So here's the thing: uppercuts are definitely just as strong as any other punch, realistically. Yeah. I'm sure there's slight variances in your power and everything and how you deliver. But when you hit a bag, especially our bags like we have in our studios, all the weight's in the bottom. So the closer you hit to the bottom, the less movement you're going to see on this bag. So if I'm doing an uppercut down here, the bag's not going to move as much as me doing a cross up here. So it's more of a mind trick. It doesn't mean you're necessarily throwing less power in that punch or getting less of a workout. You're moving the weight in a different way. So just keep that in mind. If you're throwing uppercuts in the bag, you're like, man, I feel like my uppercut's really weak. Just know it's physics, right? I'm not going to get into that because I'm not a physics student or professor. I took physics, and that's about as much as I want to do with physics.
Science.
So if you want to look more into that, feel free to do so. But basically, when the weight's down here, as we get closer to that weight, the less it's going to move. It has to do with levers and all that stuff, right? So if we hit up nice and high, you're going to see lots of rocking. But when you get lower, it's going to rock less and less. So again, we've talked about 2 different ways to throw that uppercut. One is in a sparring or cardio kickboxing way, is shooting that glove straight up. The other is on the bag, shooting that glove straight in. Now, there are some other ways to practice that uppercut and that more upwards motion. It's going to simulate more realistic fighting. And one of those is one of my favorite ways, is in our Thai pad videos.
Yes.
So if you haven't done them yet, they're really great workouts. They last about 22 to 25 minutes. And they're a great way to not only get a good workout with a buddy, but challenge each other and get more realistic experience when it comes to sparring. So when you're holding this Thai pad, now I can hold in that upward angle. So Devin will actually shoot that uppercut straight up. He's going to have a more flat surface to hit as if it was the bottom of my chin. And he's going to get some good resistance. So just like hitting the bag, now he's really strengthening that quick uppercut. Woo, he's got some power in it. If you don't have Thai pads, you can always just practice with a buddy with your gloves on. So just holding that glove down there and then punching straight up that glove will also simulate a good uppercut as well. So lots of different ways to practice the uppercut. Make sure you're using good form as always, and keep yourself safe so that way you get a good workout and you become a better kickboxer. I think that's all I've got on the uppercut. What about you, Devin?
No, we covered all the basics.
All right. So remember, uppercuts, when you're fighting someone, if you want to go to that chin height, you just drop that glove a little bit, and you shoot up those knuckles straight underneath the chin. If you're going to that bag, or if, let's say, you want to throw more of a shovel punch to the belly, which, again, is still a good fight. So I might be sparring someone. Just because I do a left uppercut doesn't mean I won't necessarily go to that belly with my rights. So play around with it, practice it, master it. Let us know what you think and what you'd like to learn more about. Until then, we'll see you next time. Tomorrow, same time, 3 o'clock, we've got a live 15-minute full body hit workout with some stretching.
Yes.
So we'll see you then tomorrow. And that's all we got for now. Bye.